then plus it's a mockery of people who actually have to cut off friends and family because they go through so much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Alexis, and on this channel, I talk about important lessons and takeaways that I get from viral topics and viral conversations. Today, I wanted to talk about the cutting off of friends and family, specifically family. I've been seeing the conversation going on social media for a minute now. It started around lockdown, and all these young millennials and Gen Z were talking about cutting off your friends and families for a multitude of reasons, but the main reason that I heard of was that the family was toxic and actually dragged them down instead of lifting them up. What inspired me to make this video today is that I saw this one video.
Is anyone else just a little concerned for the adults going no contact with their parents and then the parents just really don't seem to be unbothered? Like Gen X boomers are not really as fazed by their adult children going no contact as I thought, and it's almost like they didn't want us in the first place. Too loud?
And that just had me thinking, what exactly are people trying to achieve when they cut friends and family off, especially family? Yes, I do understand that they're toxic, but if that's not something that you are ready to do, I don't think that's something that you should proceed doing. Cutting friends and family off, especially family, is not a light decision. That is something that you have to think of thoroughly, because the worst thing that somebody could do is cut off your family and end up going back to set family members. Because the moment you cut somebody off and change your mind, that person will never take you seriously ever again. They will always think that you are not a person of your word. They will always think that they can mistreat you. So if you get to a point where you want to cut somebody off, make sure that cutting that person off is what you really want to do. I myself am estranged from family, and this is not a choice or decision that I just came up with out of nowhere. It took a moment, and it took years upon years of just toxic traits and stories just accumulating over the years that just got me to a point where I was just tired and I couldn't take it anymore. I was at the point where I really couldn't even notice when my family wasn't around me. Like, I really couldn't care if I had a relationship with them or not. Within my immediate family, I have an older sister who went no contact with everybody before it was even a trend. I myself, in a position where I felt like such an outsider with my immediate family, I started cutting off people one after the other. It started with my younger brother, and then I had an older sister who we were close, but there were always signs that she was very toxic and pretty much an enemy. And it took me a moment to realize that, but I came to the realization eventually. And then I fell apart with my mom, and then it was my dad, the last person that I ended up cutting off. So it's not a decision that I just came with just out of nowhere. It took a moment and it took years. These are the things that I learned as somebody who has also cut her family off and who's estranged from family. And this is what I think people need to consider before proceeding to making this move. And I think this video is important because it's a lot of young people out here just doing things because everybody else is doing it. When it comes to serious decisions as such, serious decisions that include bringing people into your life or letting people get out of your life, you cannot imitate people. You cannot follow trends. You cannot do things because everybody else is doing it. I today want to talk about a few things that I believe people need to consider before cutting off friends and family. So I will start by saying communicate as much as possible before pulling that plug. Always communicate. So you do not want to cut family off or friends and have to look back on it and remember that you could have done more, especially when it comes to communicating and talking.
Hold on before you do those cutoffs. I'm a big supporter of cutting off family members if they need to be done because of emotional abuse or any kind of abuse. However, I'm also a big believer of going to them and having a conversation and saying to them, hey, you made me carry all these rocks and stones. They're not mine. I'm giving them back to you. And even if they let them drop to the floor, let them drop to the floor. They're not yours anymore. So one, make sure you do this with an even emotionally regulated state. If you're overreactive, they're not going to hear you. They might not overhear you anyways, but at least you've tried. Two, make it about you. The story I heard, what I witnessed, what I experienced, my interpretation of this, and they can't fight with you. They might try, but you're going to say, listen, this is my experience. Three, behavior changes. Are you able, willing, or want to even try to engage in behaviors that would work for me, not necessarily only work for you? And four, be clear, I am going to be cutting you off. I'm not sure when I'm coming back.
There's a lot of miscommunication going on out here. A lot of people cut off friends and family and eventually look back at it, or years down the line, have conversations with said family member and realize that some things weren't said. So I understand that sometimes parents, a family, especially when you come from a toxic family where people don't talk or communicate, that's the type of family that I grew up around. Serious conversations were never had. Everything was just kind of swept under the rug. There was a lot of passive aggression. There was a lot of silent treatment going on around the home. So when you come from a situation like that and you want to have serious conversation, chances are family is going to shut the door at your face. But still, I would still encourage people to communicate before going ahead and pulling that plug, before going ahead and just cutting all contact. You do not want to cut off everybody and think to yourself, what more could I have said? What more could have been done? Did I miss out on something? Did I misunderstand something? Yes, I know trying with people who are showing you that they don't want you around or they don't really care to maintain a friendship with you might make you feel stupid, but I still think it's worth to put in the work and try as much as possible before just completely cutting off. Make sure that everything that's on your mind has been released. And even if they don't want to listen to you, make sure that you have tried. Next, take accountability for anything that you could have contributed to the relationship going astray. There's a lot of people out here who think that everybody else is the bad guy and not them. In a relationship, there's always a chance that both of you are the bad guys. I mean, after all, it takes two to tango. I believe that parents have more of a choice to have the children here more than the children have a choice to want to be here. I believe that leadership relies on parents and how they move. However, when you as a child become an adult, I'm pretty sure the love that they had for the little baby you kind of fades away because they see that now you two are an adult and you can square up with them. So now they even see you as your equal in a way, but they also see you as a child still. Very complicated. For me, it's more about living a relationship without it being your fault. It's more about you trying to fix a relationship and try everything you can before walking away. So the breakup and the final goodbyes is really not your fault. That's how I see it, anyways. Next, you need to remind yourself that you do not control all situations. You cannot control the way people react to you. If you proceed to say the wrong thing, if you proceed to make the wrong move, if you proceed to cut somebody off without really meaning it, understand that you don't control how they're going to react to it. Sometimes some people will cut off friends and family because they want to see if those friends and family care. And you need to be ready for the reaction because some friends and family might try to chase after you, but some people might just go ahead and let you know how much they never cared about you.
Little concerned for the adults going no contact with their parents, and then the parents just really don't.
I know this is going to be hard to hear, but it doesn't bother them because they got what they wanted. They now get to live their best life without the responsibilities of having a child. I've been no contact with my father for almost 4 years. This man has an entire ass grandchild that he doesn't know anything about him. The child doesn't know anything about his grandfather, and he sleeps just fine at night. And the most frustrating part of the situation isn't the fact that like this doesn't bother him. It's the fact that anytime this gets brought up in, conversation with anyone, they're either really, really concerned about him or they just can't fathom why he would be this way. Like, I don't understand, or like, he's a piece of shit. There's a reason that we don't talk. Nobody ever cares about like how the kids are doing in this kind of situation or thinks about how hard it is for them. It's always like, well, why, what is this parent? Oh, poor them, poor them. So my advice for anyone else going through this situation is that the fact that it doesn't bother them is proving you right. And you just need to let them be alone and rot.
I'm just seeing people making it a trend, and I'm a little nervous because I don't want people to just make the wrong decision because everybody else is doing it. Do not destroy good relationships, or do not destroy relationships that might be fixed just because you see everybody else taking some type of stand or cutting off friends and family. This is not me trying to shame anybody into doing something. If you feel like that's the best move for you, go ahead and do so. Either way, I have trust in people that people know your situation and they know what's best for them. So if that's the route that you choose, that's the route that you choose. Remember, you do not control all situations. You might get one reaction from cutting them off, or you might get another reaction. Do not set any expectations. You just never know what people's reaction is going to be. Next, grieving people who are alive is actually harder than grieving people who are gone.
I lost my dad when I was
there's so many things that could have been done, maybe from our part, but especially from your part, for me to know that everybody's still alive today, and at any given day, one of us could be gone. When somebody's actually gone, you know for a fact that you're never going to see them again. You know it. You just prepare yourself to see them in the afterlife. This is not to be disrespectful to the people who have lost friends and family to the Lord, pretty much. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know that hurts too, but at least you know where your person is. When you are estranged from friends and family, you have to come to the realization that those people are still here. Sometimes they might even be just a few miles from you, but there's no contact, and you have to go through the grieving process, getting over them, knowing very well that they're alive somewhere. And it's just a relationship that cannot be put back together. I've always had dreams of having a blended family. When me and my family kind of fell apart, that dream went out the window. Now I don't even want kids. I don't want to get married. I don't care for that. And some people might say, well, it's a trauma response. I don't care. But the passion that I have for a family, and to see that a family that I thought was strong can fall apart the way it did, that just makes me not care anymore. But does that mean I'm not okay? Today I am. I'm very happy. I feel like chasing after my dreams. I feel like going out. I feel like making friends. But that relationship with my family definitely changed me. Grieving people who are alive is worse than grieving people who are not here anymore, who are not alive anymore. Next, be realistic. Can you really make it out on your own? Before proceeding to cutting off friends and family, make sure that you actually have a sense of independence. Make sure that you can live without them. When you start to feel that it's time for you to let them go, now it's your job to prepare yourself for that, to start doing things on your own, to start figuring things out on your own, and to start learning things on your own. The last thing that you want to do is be completely dependent of the people you want to let go of. You're not even going to stand on business. By the end of the day, you're going to be calling them again. Like I mentioned before, it's very weak to cut off friends and family and then eventually go back to set friends and family again. When you do that, they're never going to take you seriously. And now you can be certain that the issues that you want to get fixed are never going to get fixed. So be realistic. How independent are you? How dependent are you? Can you make it out without those people that you want to cut off? If the answer is no, but you know for sure that you want to cut them off eventually, make sure that you are preparing yourself to be independent. Learn from them, learn from the people around you, also learn from yourself. Make sure you are independent. Make sure you don't need anybody else to be okay. Make sure you are self sufficient. Make sure that you can stand on your own. Make sure that you can make your own decisions. Make sure that you can bounce back when you fall. Make sure that you can take care of yourself pretty much. Just don't rush into things without making sure that you are capable of doing so. Just don't cut people off without making sure that you yourself are capable of taking care of your own self. The next point is actually what I wanted to talk about the most. Do not cut off friends and family for attention. If your friends and family are not giving you attention that you need or you deserve, it's okay to go out there and try to build other connections that are worthy. But do not cut people off for attention. That is immature, that is childish, and that's going to backfire. And I understand that people who cut off others to get attention will probably raise that way, or they probably learn that behavior from somebody, but that's a behavior that needs to be unlearned. Do not cut people off because you want them to panic. Do not cut people off for any surface level reasons. Do not cut people off just because you want to be playful. Do not cut people off because you think it's a game. If something bad really ever happens to you, what if it takes a moment for people to even take you seriously before trying to help you? If you do things for attention. If your friends and family haven't really done anything for you to cut them off, and you're not doing so as something serious, I don't think they deserve to be scared off with you cutting them off. I don't think your friends and family deserve to go through the fear and the pain of being cut off if they haven't given you reasons to do so. So if you are just completely fine and you know in your heart that you will never really cut them off, do not do it just for the attention. For the people who might not have valid reasons to cut off friends and family, for people who have not really been through that much, but they just want to prove a point and they just want to use cutting off friends and family for attention, do not do it. If there's a way to talk to friends and family, just do that. Do not use this for attention. It's weird, it's childish, and then plus it's a mockery of people who actually have to cut off friends and family because they go through so much. Next, remember that everywhere you go, there you are. Sometimes you try to cut people off, but you are the problem. And when that's the case, best believe you're going to keep encountering the same kind of people because that's who you attract. Make sure that you two are straight spiritually, emotionally, mentally, educationally. Just make sure that you are a straight stand-up person. You don't get to decide who approaches you, but you can decide who gets to stay in your energy. Sometimes when people cut other people off, they continuously run after the exact same people, or should I say, they continuously let the exact same kind of people into your space, into your life. Why? Because they want another chance of fixing the relationship with that person. When you cut somebody off, it's better to just let them go for good. Do not try to remake the relationship with a better outcome. That's what's going to backfire, because sooner or later you're going to come to the realization that the new person that you have in front of you has nothing to do with the old person. And if they hurt you the exact same way that your friends and family that you left behind hurt you, it's even going to feel worse, because you might just look at yourself as if something was wrong with you, but deep down inside you should have not made the exact same mistake by letting the wrong person in. So remember and take notes. Everywhere you go, there you are. And if you do not learn the lessons that need to be learned from the previous relationship that you had with friends and family before cutting them off, chances are you might still end up in those same kind of relationship with different people. In a lot of cases, the same behaviors and characters that you were running away from are going to come back around, especially when it comes to friends and families with whom you were raised by or raised with. When you have already registered a certain pattern of behaviors in your spirit, in your mind, in your soul, you are very likely to gravitate towards those exact same behaviors. Next, be careful not to become what you are running away from. If you walked away from a toxic situation at home, or from a toxic situation with your childhood friends, for example, chances are at the time might have been one of the good ones in the relationship that needed to walk away. But when those people have hurt you enough or pissed you off enough, there is a chance that you might also get the same level of bitterness that they had when they hurt you. You think you're a good person, or you see yourself as a victim, but then leave one relationship and go to the next relationship, and in that relationship, you are the villain. You start putting the next person through what you went through. Some people are just straight up conniving and they do it on purpose. And then you have those people who don't even realize that they're doing it. If they have convinced themselves their entire lives that they were victims. I know when I walked away from home, I started noticing a lot of characteristics that I thought I was walking away from. So it was just like the level of anxiety and anger that was the foundation of my family not holding itself together. I too started having it. And I had to hold myself accountable. Like, what am I doing? Some of my interactions with others, I could see those behaviors as well, where I was kind of toxic a little bit, doing the exact same things that were done to me. I think it's a lot of emotional and mental work that comes after that. And the emotional and mental work is not the same for everybody. And maybe some people, like I said, don't need it. But for those who need it, I think this is something that you need to look out for. When you kind of let somebody go, or you let go a group of friends or family, especially group of friends or family who have hurt you pretty bad, be careful not to become just like them. Let go of them. Why? Because sometimes your spirit can just kind of take over you, and you would become the toxic person that you were trying to run away from. Maybe something spiritual is happening where you become the person that you were running away from, to understand where they were coming from. As you were cutting people off, do not let yourself become what you are running away from. Do not become the person who made you feel bad enough to have to cut everybody off. Please be a little more emotionally and spiritually aware before making a move as such.
Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I don't fucking care if it's your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your grandma, or your grandpa. If they're toxic and they only bring you negative energy and have always made you feel like shit and have made you go through a whole bunch of crap when you were young, and they still keep on dragging you down, then you have to get rid of them. You have to stop talking to them. You have to get them out of your life. It doesn't matter if it's your friends or your family. It's the same shit. You have to learn how to respect yourself and set boundaries, okay? Because if you don't respect yourself and you don't set boundaries for yourself, and you just keep living in this constant crap that they're making you live in, then how do you expect to heal and see success in your life?
Please go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you again for being here, and I will catch you in the next video.